Hello, and today I'll be reviewing the online game Rift, which is a free-to-play game created by Tryon. There are two factions in Rift, the Guardians and the Defiant. Due to a change in Rift later in the game, you are now able to group, quest, join guilds and trade with members of the opposite faction while competing against them in PvP and open world PvP. This is an interesting change from the normal enemy faction encounters within most online games, where you cannot interact with the person you're punting across the screen. Before we examine the actual game environment, I will begin by giving you a quick encounter of what races there are to choose from within both factions. Within the Guardian faction, there are dwarves, high elves and humans to choose from, better known as the Mathosian. Each race has its own special abilities and specific stats, which are there to help you within the game. The most common special ability given to each race tends to be a speed boost of some kind, which can come in handy when you want to try to escape large groups of creatures. On the Defiant side, the races to choose from range between the Kalari, the Eth and the Bami, and as you can probably tell, there is a type of elf and human for either faction, with the dwarf and Bami being the dissimilar race for either one. Like before, each has its own special race attributes and stats, with the Kalari being slightly different in the fact that they can turn into a fox and become stealthy for a short amount of time to avoid danger before it sees them, rather than when they want to escape it. The interesting thing about the Bami is that its female species is not overtly feminine, as they are broad-built and appear to have muscle, which is a rare and interesting spin on the stereotypical female appearances found in most games. As we have looked at the different collective races to choose from, it's time to make an actual character, and for this review I'm going to choose a High Elf. To start off, there is an option to see what each race will look like in the in-game gear, ranging from 20 to 50 before you enter the character creation screen. Once you've chosen your race, it's time to choose your class, and unlike most online games, Rift's selection is quite unique in the way that each class has its own set of subcategories, with some classes you would not expect to see there. For example, you can tank in instances or support the healer by healing as your DPS as a rogue in instances. Overall, there are 4 main options to pick from, those being cleric, rogue, mage and warrior. After choosing the main class you want to be, you can then pick which tree you would like to go down. Either class you choose will have 5 subcategories to choose from, though you can only pick between 4 without purchasing a package from Rift's in-game store, though this will not have any effect on your actual gameplay throughout your gaming experience, as the developers do attempt to make each class close enough to equal as humanly possible. Within the mage classes to choose from, there is the Gravelord, Sage, Pyromentalist, Corruptor and Spellblade. The Gravelord is your Warlock or Necromancer type class, which uses a pet to add extra damage or tank the enemy. The Sage is the mage's equivalent to a nature healer, somewhat like a stereotypical druid, though within the Sage build there is the ability to DPS. The Pyromentalist is a firecaster which can obtain a pet to help damage or tank the enemy, like several other classes in the game, depending on how you build up your talent tree. While the Corruptor is another dark type mage which relies more specifically on damage over time spells to add extra damage to the enemy. The character creation system itself is quite thorough and diverse in its options, which makes a nice change from quite a lot of online games which give you a much more limited option of looks to choose from. There are many things you can do with your character in the creation screen, from changing the initial shape of the face to changing the features or age slightly for a sharper look. You can change the colour of the eyes and the size of them, as well as rotate them to set them at a different angle. They've even added an option to change what the eyebrows look like, as well as the size and the tilt of the nose, so that the changes to the face can match the overall aesthetic look you want to go for. They've also went so far as to give you the ability to change the size and shape of the ears on some of the characters. On the other side, there is also the option to change the colour of your hair, and even add highlights to make the colours stand out. Like most games, there is also a selection of hairstyles to choose from, most of which are quite natural and realistic. There is also the option to give your character makeup and markings as well, to give your character an even more unique appearance, decrease the chances of you coming across another player in game who looks like you. There is also the option of changing your height, which is not an uncommon option within games, but it's still a nice option nonetheless. They have even added a name generator which can prove quite useful, and so with that begins your adventure in Rift. So now it's time to travel into the open world, so we'll fade out and come back with a character so that we may begin. So now we have entered the open world, resurrected from the dead to fight the hordes of enemy being controlled by Regulos. However, the starting zone takes place within the future. As you can see, the icons in the game are simple to understand and closely resemble the ones used in most leading MMO games. The UI is also very basic, with your avatar to the right hand corner, your mini-map on the opposite side and your ability bar at the bottom in the centre, with your bags on one side and your options on the other. The soul tree is your basic talent tree, with an automatic point distributor if you want to go with what the game suggests. You can cancel this and put points where you would like, however, by clicking off of the only highlighted icon in the panel. There is also the option to change your spec for free right off the bat if you change your mind once you start playing. This also allows you to see the actual tree you can follow underneath each class subcategory. In theory, you would only have to roll one character for each class, as you can have as many trees as you want for an increased amount of platinum, the in-game currency each time, which can come in useful for different encounters throughout the game as you level and enter dungeons. The combat system itself uses the well-known target system found in most online games, and is quick to figure out and utilise. While the quests within the game are easy to understand and follow, with the mini-map there every step of the way to direct you in the direction of the enemies you need to kill, NPCs you need to talk to and the quest items you need to obtain. Like most MMOs, Rift also offers a set of options to enhance your gaming experience. For example, you can add more action bars to the screen when you run out of room. Rift's item wall is also easy to understand and very helpful while questing, as you can sell, find and buy items without being within a town or city. It also offers a daily reward with an artifact inside, and occasionally special items such as currency that can be redeemed at NPCs for in-game items. Artifacts are Rift's collectibles, and when an artifact set is complete, the player can obtain an item known as a lucky coin from an NPC in their chosen main city. Collecting these coins allows you to purchase mounts, pets, unique items or costumes, as well as go towards zone achievements throughout the game. Artifacts can be collected by completing zone events, killing certain monsters and finding them hidden in places around the map. Rift also allows you to edit your UI in great detail, an option I am yet to see in other MMO games. This option allows you to change where the screen objects are visible and what scale they are to benefit the player. Each time you level, the game will alert you that you have points to spend and will give you the choice to either spend them yourself or have the game do it for you. Your spells are not learned through a trainer but through the talent tree and how many points you have put in them. Putting a specific amount of points in one tree, such as Pyromancer, will unlock new abilities as you level. These abilities are found underneath the 3 talent trees. What is great about this game is that there is no chance of losing out on a kill, as you can obtain loot, experience and kills for quests simply by helping another player kill them, even if they are not in your group, which can prove quite useful when you're hunting a special named monster and don't want to wait around for it to respawn. The game also has a wardrobe option which allows the player to cover their armour with any skin they please. For example, despite only being able to wear cloth as a mage, I can obtain plate armour and look as though I'm wearing that instead. There is even dye within the game, which can be used to colour your armour, although the original colour of the armour may affect the dye you want to put over it, and the dye can only be used on your armour's secondary and primary colours. The weapons within the game can also be changed, however these baubles can only be bought through the cash shop, but there is a chance of finding one in the daily reward box. If you are a new player to the game, you will only be given 2 open bag slots to coincide with your main bag, but these slots can be opened for cash shop shards if you feel you need more room. So now that we near the end of the starting zone, it is time for our first rift, the main aspect of the game. Rifts are great ways to gain experience and loot whilst obtaining achievements for interacting with certain ones on different maps. To destroy rifts, you have to complete the objectives given to you when you enter the proximity of the tear. The amount of tasks given to you for each rift can vary depending on how fast you complete each task, allowing you to complete timed bonus stages for extra rewards. The most interesting thing about the rifts is that if major events are not stopped by the players on a zone in time, then the rifts can take over towns and quest points around the map, and these effects will remain until players help take the zone back.
What is this? Did I not slay you before? The gods brought us back to destroy you, tyrant! Your gods cannot stand against the dragon of extinction. Regulus, I give my life to you, from which springs power eternal. In life I ruled Methuselah, but with Regulus I shall rule all of creation. You are insane, brother! I will end this if you cannot!
Carwin, my bastard brother.
The grouping system within the game is open, so if someone else arrives at a rift, then they can simply choose the option to join the public group also there, and begin without asking for an invite. Completing rifts and killing mobs within them also gives the player notoriety, which is the rift version of faction reputation. And so with the death of Regulus, this commentary has come to an end. Thank you for watching, and I hope you have enjoyed this review.